Today we're going to look at how one of the richest families in America at the time built this beautiful structure and how it was almost demolished, leaving it one of the most iconic and historical mansions ever built in Texas. But before we get started, if you're a fan of the abandoned and historical locations, then you are in the right place. I post videos just like this every week. Make sure to hit that thumbs up, subscribe, hit that bell so you never miss an episode. I will pin the best comment below, just like this one. Okay, let's get started in today's history. In 1904, this mansion was built for Electra Wagner, who was an American rancher and was well known by many people in Texas. She was the daughter of the well-known William T. Wagner, who owned the Wagner Ranch, which by the way was one of the largest ranches in the United States at the time, and the Wagner family who owned the ranch were also one of the richest families in the United States. Electra and her husband Albert B. Wharton would move into their honeymoon cottage, as they would call it, up on the hill, which at the time was in a wealthy neighborhood called Quality Hill, which would later be known as downtown Fort Worth. This three-story mansion was built in a Georgian revival style in Fort Worth, Texas, by a local architect company, which were based out of Fort Worth. The home ended up costing about $38,000 to build, which is close to $1.2 million in today's dollars. Electra and Albert seemed to enjoy and love being in their new home in this nice neighborhood, living this very luxurious lifestyle in this mansion. They would throw some pretty fancy and entertaining parties for the several years that they lived there. Later on, in 1910, William Wagner would divide his estate among his three children, and by doing this, Electra would receive $2 million in cattle, land, and horses. Then, after that, Electra and Albert would sell their mansion and move to a ranch property that they had near Vernon, Texas, which was about 160 miles northwest from the mansion. And the person who would go on to buy this mansion would be the self-made millionaire and real estate tycoon Winfield Scott. He would purchase the mansion for $90,000, and then immediately he would undergo major remodeling that would cost around $100,000. Winfield would go on to replace the wooden decorative elements with wrought iron. He also imported green tile from Italy to replace the roof shingles that were originally there. And he would also go on to install marble columns in front of the home. Winfield died before the remodeling was completed, and his wife Elizabeth, who moved into the house in 1911, would go on to build a pergola and a tea house to the west side of the mansion. Then, after Elizabeth Scott's death in 1938, her son would inherit all the money. But her son blew through his inheritance, and then in 1940 he couldn't keep the house, so he sold the house to the Girls Service League of Fort Worth for $17,500. The Girls Service League was an organization that housed and helped underprivileged girls. The organization would use the home until 1968, saving the house from demolition at a time where other mansions in the area were being demolished. The organization would do some small repairs and upkeep of their own. By doing this, they would be criticized by locals, but the work they did would in fact actually preserve the house. Since they didn't have a lot of money to do any major remodeling or changes to the structure itself, the organization would go on and paint and make surface repairs and stuff like that. Then, in 1968, the Girls Service League would move out of the home and the mansion would sit abandoned until 1975, when a community organization called Save the Scott leased the mansion so that they could help save and preserve the home. The next year, in 1976, the group had raised $375,000, which was the amount to purchase the structure itself. After making the purchase, this massive mansion would undergo a slow and expensive restoration to its 1912 condition. Some of those repairs would be major structural repairs, such as strengthening the foundation, replacing plumbing, and wiring, which in fact were the first things that they did. The cosmetic repairs continued into the late 1980s. Let's back up just a bit. The town of Electra in Texas was named in her honor, and it's even said that a car was named after her as well, the Buick Electra. But let me know what you think. Today, the 11,000 square foot mansion still stands with 18 rooms, 6 bathrooms, and has a total of 5 fireplaces. This home is a true work of art, having a very unique interior details which include plastering stenciling, stylish windows, and a dramatic grand horseshoe staircase that greets you upon entering the home. The home is known today as Thistle Hill. The mansion today is closed to the public for tours, but they still allow weddings to take place at the mansion. I was lucky to even get in to capture the footage I did, thanks to the ladies at Thistle Hill who were kind enough to let me film before a wedding took place. Okay guys, that does it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit that thumbs up, subscribe, hit that bell so you never miss an episode. Peace, I love you, and as always, God bless.